Hello everybody, welcome to the Brazilian Readers. My name is Virginia and today we are going to talk about a complicated subject. First of all, everything I say in this video is allegedly. Please don't sue me. I am a poor woman from Brazil. All I have are books. I have no assets, nothing. Please don't sue me. Anyway, one of my favorite literary subjects is the possibility of plagiarized books. And this subject is more in fashion, let's say, because of misting the coincidences, let's put it that way. The coincidences of Miss Frida McFadden books. Again, please don't sue me. It's all allegedly. Anyway, if you follow any kind of literary forum, you probably already seen the discussion around Frida McFadden having plagiarized Verity in her book The Wife Upstairs. And I thought, why not bring an example of an allegedly plagiarized work by one of the most famous mystery writer, one of the most famous authors in the world, Agatha Christie. Anyway, let's start. So you start reading a book and the story goes like that. A group of people receive an invitation to be in a location, and when they arrive, they are received with a voice that is coming from the beyond, and the voice tell them that they are going to die one by one and they cannot escape, and yeah, that's it. And they start dying one after the other, and we follow along all the guests dying. So sounds familiar. It could be because you've read And Then There Were None by Miss Agatha Christie. However, I'm talking about The Invisible Host, a book published 9 years before and written by the journalist couple Gwen Bristol and Bruce Manning. The Agatha Christie team denies anything related to her plagiarizing The Invisible Host. However, let's make an educated guess. First of all, like I said, The Invisible Host was published 9 years prior to And Then There Were None. What we know for sure, The Invisible Host became a play, a successful play, and they traveled through the United States, and they had a season in London, where Agatha Christie lived. Also, there was a movie, The Ninth Guest, that you can watch on YouTube. You can just search it and you will find to watch it for free if you so incline, if you like. And this movie is from 1934. That is what we know about the success of The Invisible Host. We know for sure that it was praised for being really outrageous and different from everything else. So we could imagine that there was a little bit of buzz around the work. We also know that Agatha Christie was part of the Detection Club, a club created by mystery authors that they got together to discuss mystery literature. They created rules. It's like the Avengers of the mystery writers. The Detection Club was created 2 years prior to The Invisible Host being published. I don't think it's too big of a leap to assume that the fact that there was a play, a mystery play, doing the rounds, having a buzz around, and people talking about it, it's not far-fetched to assume that The Invisible Host would be known by the members one of the members of the detection club. So let's imagine the situation. One of the writers, it's like, oh, I just watched this amazing play that people are talking about. It's called The Invisible Host, The Night Guest, and he tells the plot for the other authors. This is not an outrageous possibility. At least I don't think so, because they literally discussed mystery writing. So if there's anything different happening in the mystery genre, I assume they would want to talk about it, right? I don't know, you tell me. Anyway, also, Agatha Christie loved the theater. If you read any of her biographies, you know she was in the cultural environment she really enjoyed. So it is not a crazy assumption to think that she saw the play. We don't have record of any of this happening. It's all an educated guess based on what we can assume it could happen. And then in 1939 she published And Then There Were None. And you might be wondering, but like, that's not enough to be considered plagiarized. I understand that, however, there are a lot of details that are really, really similar, like the coffins, the fact that they all were summoned there because they committed crimes and weren't punished by it, so they deserve to die. The voice in the, like, controlling everything. And I encourage you to go search and read The Invisible Host for you to make up your own mind. My perception is that she had some contact with the story and created And Then There Were None. However, I want to be really, really clear that I don't think she was maliciously trying to copy. I don't think it's a full-on desire to plagiarize. Especially because there was, like, you couldn't Google it in 1939. So what I also assumed it happened, she got that story stuck in her mind, and like that she heard 8 years before that was like really interesting, and that story stayed there, and like and a lot of things happen in 8 years, especially in the 30s that we are talking about, like pre-war England, né? And like, yeah, people were with the mind busy elsewhere. Maybe she's like, Jesus, I need to get out this story, and she couldn't, like, she didn't remember where she heard it from, and she was inspired, and she didn't have the means to search where this story came from, and she made it her own. And despite having a lot of similarities, I do think that her version is much better. The vibes of both books are not the same. In The Invisible Host, they all know each other. So the fact that, like, if you know those people, it will be harder to assume that one of them killed someone or was the murderer. And Then There Were None, this is a great factor of eeriness, because they are all strangers. You can't trust anyone. You don't know who this person is. So they can all be murderers. None of them are your friends. However, the voice in The Invisible Host is so much creepier, and he is constantly watching what is happening. So if someone says, oh, I think let's try to do this and this, and the voice will appear, and like, if you do this, something will happen. he's constantly watching over everything that is happening. So it's like the feeling of it being so much tension. It's different. They are both different in the vibes department. And the ending is kind of different because I'm not going to spoil it, but if you know, and then there are none, you know the time that you discover the murder. And with the invisible host, it's like it's more of a proper mystery. The action of the book reveals the murder. So yeah, there's this difference. But yeah, there is a reason why I don't want to be mean with the legacy of Gwen and Bruce, but there is a reason why And Then There Are None is one of the most perfect mystery book ever written. In the introduction of the edition that I read, there's a commentary from Curtis Evans, and he says that the biggest contribution of the invisible host maybe was the fact that inspired one of the greatest authors writing one of the greatest mystery books. And I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. So yeah, my conclusion is that I do think Agatha Christie was inspired in some way from the Invisible Host story. I really, really do. It's like, it would be insane if she didn't. The details, there's a lot of things that are way too similar. But I do not think that there was any intent on plagiarizing. I don't think it was from a bad place of I will steal this story or anything like that. I really think that just, I don't know, this happens to everyone. You listen to a story like 10 years ago and and comes back to you and you're like, where did I hear this story? Who told me that? Who told me? And then you tell someone and you create new details and like the story has a life of its own all of a sudden. And yeah, I think this is what happened. She heard the story, they discussed it in the detection club, and then she decided to create this new version of the plot of the story. And yeah, I think this is what happened. Anyway, I think that's it. If you like this video, please like, subscribe. Tell me in the comments, what do you think? Do you think she plagiarized? Do you think she was maliciously trying to copy? Do you know this story? Did you know about the invisible host? Please just comment. Anyway, see you in the next video.